What a beautiful day to fly. Lovely. Every single time a hurricane forms anywhere on Earth. The kind of storm that evacuates entire cities, shuts down coastlines, and rewrites the map. Someone has to fly into it. Not around it, not above it, into it. These people are called hurricane hunters. They work for NOAA and the United States Air Force Reserve. And their entire job is to do the thing that every survival instinct in the human body says absolutely under no circumstances do not do. Today, that pilot is you. And that storm ahead of you just got upgraded to a Category 5. Before we get into the plane, let's talk about why this job exists at all. Here's the problem with hurricanes. They're alive. They breathe. They feed. They change direction, intensify overnight, and weaken just as fast. And from a satellite image 22,000 miles up in space, they all kind of look the same. The only way to know exactly what a hurricane is doing, its wind speed, its pressure, its structure, its track, is to put instruments inside it. Which means putting a plane inside it. Which means putting you inside it. You fly for the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron. Nicknamed, and this is real, the Hurricane Hunters. Based out of Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi. Your aircraft is a Lockheed WC-130J, a 4-engine turboprop, built like a flying tank specifically because of what it has to survive. You are one of roughly 150 people in the entire world qualified to do this job. The training pipeline takes years. You need a commercial pilot's license, military flight hours, and then a specific hurricane hunter qualification that only a handful of people pass each year. Your team on each flight is 5 people. Pilot, co-pilot, flight meteorologist, flight engineer, and a dropsonde operator. The person who physically releases instruments into the storm from the aircraft. Today's mission, Hurricane Zeta, Category 4. Currently sitting 600 miles south of the Louisiana coast. Forecast models disagree on its track. The National Hurricane Center needs fresh data in the next 6 hours. Or they can't make an accurate landfall prediction. Which means they can't tell 2 million people whether to evacuate. No pressure. It's 4:47 a.m. The mission brief ended 20 minutes ago. Your meteorologist ran through the storm structure, current eye diameter, 25 miles. Central pressure, 942 millibars. Maximum sustained winds, 145 miles per hour. Translation: this is a very angry storm, and you are going to fly through the middle of it 6 times. The flight pattern is called a figure 4. You enter the storm, fly through the eye wall, the most violent part, cross the calm eye in the center, punch through the eye wall on the other side. Exit the storm, turn around, and do it again from a different angle. Each pass takes about 30 minutes. You're doing this for 8 to 10 hours. Pre-flight is thorough to the point of being meditative. You check everything. Then your co-pilot checks everything. Then you check everything your co-pilot checked. Because at 10,000 feet inside a Category 4 hurricane, I think we checked that, is not a phrase you want to be using. At 5:22 a.m., you get clearance. The engines spin up. The WC-130J rolls down the runway and lifts into a perfectly clear, perfectly calm pre-dawn sky. You have about 90 minutes of smooth flying before everything changes. The outer rain bands hit at 6:54 a.m., still 200 miles from the eye. This is the storm's opening statement. Turbulence that would abort a commercial flight and have passengers gripping armrests and reconsidering their life choices. For you, it's the warm-up act. You've been in worse. The WC-130J is built for this. Its wings actually flex in ways that would terrify you on a commercial airliner, but are completely normal here. The plane is essentially designed to absorb punishment and keep flying. Your flight meteorologist is already working. Analyzing the storm's structure in real time, comparing it to the satellite data, looking for the gaps and the intensification signals that tell the story of what this hurricane is actually doing. At 150 miles out, the turbulence steps up. Moderate on the gauge. The ride gets choppy enough that conversation stops not because of fear, but because focus kicks in automatically. This is what training does. It doesn't make you fearless. It replaces the fear response with a task response. At 100 miles, the sky changes color. The light goes wrong, green-gray. The kind of sky that in any other context would make you pull over and find a ditch to lie in. At 50 miles, the eye wall appears on radar. On the screen, it shows as a solid ring of deep red and purple, the most intense radar return possible. The colors that weather radar uses when it has run out of ways to say, this is very bad. Your co-pilot looks at you. You look at your co-pilot. You both look at the radar. You key the intercom, eye wall in approximately 12 minutes. Crew brace checklist. Nothing prepares you for the eye wall the first time. Nothing. Veteran hurricane hunters describe it the same way every time. It doesn't look real. It looks like special effects. A wall of rotating cloud, 50,000 feet tall, moving at 145 miles per hour, lit from within by continuous lightning. You hit it at 6 hours 31 minutes into the flight. The word turbulence stops being adequate. The plane drops. Not dips, drops. 200 feet in under a second. Your stomach goes somewhere your body isn't. The altimeter spins. You correct. The plane bucks upward. You correct again. The noise is extraordinary. Rain hitting the fuselage sounds like continuous gunfire. The engines are screaming. The airframe is groaning in a way that, outside of this specific aircraft in this specific situation, would be the last sound you'd ever hear. The eye wall passage lasts between 3 and 8 minutes depending on the storm. This one, 5 minutes and 40 seconds. You know exactly how long it lasts because you time it. Every time. And then, the eye. Hurricane eyes are one of the most surreal things a human being can experience. Outside the eye wall, 145 miles per hour, winds and chaos. Inside, winds of 15 miles per hour, smooth air, sunshine. You can see the ocean's surface below, churned into white foam, but visible. The contrast is so absolute that first-time crew members often go quiet, not from fear, from something closer to awe. You have approximately 4 minutes in the eye before you hit the other side. Your dropsonde operator releases instruments into the eye, GPS-equipped sensors that fall to the ocean's surface, transmitting pressure, temperature, humidity, and wind data the entire way down. This data goes directly to the National Hurricane Center. It will update the forecast models within minutes. You key the intercom, starting second eye wall pass, crew brace checklist. You point the nose of the WC-130J directly at the wall, and you fly back in. Here's what most people never think about. What happens with what you collect? The data your dropsondes transmit updates the hurricane forecast models every 6 hours. Those models determine the predicted track, intensity, and landfall location of the storm. That prediction determines whether 2 million people evacuate or stay home. In 1955, before Hurricane Hunter missions were standard, Hurricane Hazel made landfall in the Carolinas. The forecast was off by 100 miles and 12 hours. The death toll was 95 people in the U.S. alone. Modern Hurricane Hunter data has reduced forecast track errors by over 30% compared to satellite data alone. That 30% translates directly into human lives. By Pass 4, your body has adapted to the rhythm of the storm. Eye wall, eye wall, eye. The violence is still there. Every pass through the wall is still severe turbulence. Still full crew on controls, but the panic window closed somewhere around Pass 2. This is what experience actually is, not the absence of danger. The absence of surprise. 10 hours and 14 minutes after takeoff, you land back at Keesler. The debrief takes 90 minutes. The data your team collected has already been processed. The National Hurricane Center has issued updated advisories. The forecast track shifted 35 miles west, a change that redirected evacuation resources to the correct counties. You drive home, eat something, sleep. And then let's talk about what this pays. Military hurricane hunters flying for the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron are Air Force Reserve personnel. Base pay for an experienced officer pilot runs $60,000 to $90,000. But factor in flight pay, hazard pay, and reserve benefits, healthcare, retirement, education, and total compensation lands between $80,000 and $130,000. NOAA Hurricane Hunters, civilian scientists and pilots flying for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration earn between $90,000 and $180,000, depending on rank, experience, and role. Private sector storm research pilots, contracted by universities, insurance companies, and private weather firms, can command $150,000 to $250,000 for specialized missions. But here's the part that almost nobody mentions. Hurricane hunters don't fly year-round. Atlantic hurricane season runs June through November. That's 6 months of active operations. The other 6 months are training, maintenance, and standby. You are being paid six figures to be one of 150 people on Earth who does this for half the year. The thing about this job that doesn't make the headlines, it doesn't care about your schedule. Hurricanes form when they form, intensify when they intensify. If a storm goes from Category 2 to Category 4 overnight, which happens, the phone rings at 2 a.m. and you go. Most hurricane hunters describe a specific psychological state they've developed over years of flying. They call it different things: controlled calm, professional detachment, storm brain. What it really is, the ability to be genuinely unbothered by things that should bother you. The pilots who wash out of the program, and some do almost never wash out because of skill. They wash out because of the sustained psychological pressure of doing this repeatedly. Mission after mission, storm after storm, season after season. The ones who stay describe it simply: they love storms, not in a reckless way. In the way a deep sea welder loves the ocean with complete respect for what it can do to you, and a deep, specific satisfaction that comes from operating inside it with competence. Hurricane Zeta made landfall 14 hours after your final pass through its eye. The forecast was accurate to within 18 miles and 2 hours. Evacuations were targeted. Emergency resources were pre-positioned correctly. The storm caused significant damage, but the death toll in an area that had 36 hours of warning based partly on your data was a fraction of what it could have been. Nobody says your name. The storm gets the headline. The data gets a footnote. The plane gets a mention if someone's thorough. Somewhere in the Atlantic, a new system is organizing. Your phone is charged. You're ready.